Greetings to the listeners, greetings to colleagues that are already joining. This is our monthly Entrepreneurship Development INDABA podcast live. My name is Sam Zima, greeting you, wishing you a very good conversation with us on entrepreneurship. This is global online channels at COMETSA through COMETSA podcast networking, bringing you this show where we talk about entrepreneurship. This is the platform on which our member entrepreneurs and their guests, entrepreneurs, engage in progress discussions about entrepreneurship development, addressing, among others, topics like what do we exist for as entrepreneurs, what are the challenges that we are faced with, what does it take to be an entrepreneur. We have our entrepreneur panelists that join us on a monthly basis, hosting guest entrepreneurs and discussing and sharing some insights. We are the mind, the journey, the destiny. Welcome. Ntate Rapula, if you can just mute yourself, I'll appreciate that. Ntate Rapula, if you can mute yourself, please.
Okay, I'll do that same, sorry.
Yeah, great. Sorry, we got the background noise. We apologize for that. Yeah, I was just introducing the show to you. And of course, our philosophy, the mind, the journey, the destiny. We apply our mind to the journey that takes us to our destiny. Our shows are based on the principle of the idea. We inform and entertain. We develop and educate. We empower and support. We associate and network. That is the idea. I have my colleague already in the studio, Rapula. We are waiting for fellow co-hosts to join us and our guest to join us from KAMOTO Sauce Company, Mr. Leach, Louw. Greetings to you, Rapula. You the first one to join me in the studio. How are you doing?
I'm okay, Sam, and yourself. The only precaution I want to put up front will be in the dark from 7 o'clock. So I'm just hoping that I'll be able to proceed after 7 with the network this side. That's the only thing we want to say. Other than that, I'm okay. Life goes on. We need to soldier on. We are soldiers.
Beautiful. I see Mate has just joined the studio. Mate, I'm gonna try and see if I can pull you over to the studio. You're supposed to actually go to the studio, but you are on the public platform. I'm not quite sure how did that happen, because you are invited to come to the studio, but you went into the public platform. Okay, Maynard has joined on the studio. Maynard, greetings to you.
Listeners?
Yeah, you went via the public platform. So, did you want to greet your fans there?
Good evening. Hope everyone will hear from the members of the public.
Yeah, I know you are in the studio now. I'm trying to figure out how Mate, you probably joined from you used the link of the public audience. You need to use the link that came from the studio as a co-host. So that is the link that will will bring you over to the studio. But normally I should be able to pull you over, but I'm seeming to be not seeing that. Let me see again. Maybe I will be able to call you over. I don't seem to be winning, Mate. You need to use the link that I used to invite you to as a co-host, not the public one. Okay. So she got the message. Hopefully she will come over. Yes, how are you, Maynard? Are you on the road?
Sorry, Sam.
I think I wanted to disconnect the Bluetooth. I hope I'm fine now.
Yeah, probably that is the Bluetooth that is creating problems. Let me just try pull Martha in. I think I can try and invite. Oh, you are in already. Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I thought you also wanted to go via the public forum to greet
No,
your
my apologies. My apologies.
no problem. No problem. No problem. You are here. I know that our guest is having challenges. He's been waiting for the load shedding to go past, and so we can actually start, because let me just inform the audience on the format of our show. These panelists that you are going to be hearing today, made of Mate Mushweshwe, Maynard Maisela, Rapula Mulivani, and hopefully we'll have Ntandla Sevilla and Ramabaka Chimule joining us. These are entrepreneurs. They are not just panelists, but they are entrepreneurs that they've also, over time, learned the ropes of holding conversations on the digital online platforms. We pride ourselves with them that they are not fearful of virtual studios and the likes, but they are also updating us on a regular basis in terms of how the business is doing. And of course, they are the ones that engage with the fellow guests, entrepreneurs. So it must be very comfortable for our guests to know that they are in conversation with fellow entrepreneurs. But let's start here by asking you, colleagues, to first invite greet the guests, the listeners, and a little bit about how you have been checking in, and for those who might not know what you are about and what is your business. And then, of course, I'm going to engage with you a little bit later to learn more about what challenges you've been picking up since last time to date, what opportunities you're picking up, what is the prospects, what do you think of the few rain that we have today, whatever you want to talk. Let's start about. Let's start with you, entrepreneur, podcaster, coach Rabula.
Sam, I think you put me in a corner, but I thought I would be the last one waiting for others to come through. And I was looking forward to the guest so as to be the first one to introduce herself and then where he is, because he's got a very, very good, I would say, I don't want to use the background, but a very good marketing image which was put through in terms of KAMOTO.
Yeah.
But who is Rapula? Rapula Mudiwani. He's a founding member of Retaliville Holding Group. The company is Imaging Business, which is based in Bujanala district. Its focus areas are more on various sectors, on strategic plannings, enterprise supply developments, business advisories, project management, social facilitation, and sometimes we do what we call organization capacity in that space, so as to make sure that we are more on that environment where we are focusing our business. It's not an easy environment to play around, because we've got big guys who have been there in the industry who play good players around that. But however, I saw a gap, especially in this area where you find the small entrepreneurs coming out of the pictures, or emerging entrepreneurs coming with the picture, but they are generalist instead of the focused in focus areas where they should be dealing with that aspect. So it's then that I realized there's a market here, and then there's a gap here, and then how do you close that gap? As then the Retali File was set up in the space to make sure that there's entrepreneurs. Thus, so far, we've done business in a few institutions, various areas.
We'll get to the details, Rabula. We have 2 hours, so don't worry. We'll come back to tell the people what we are, what your organization is all about.
Yeah.
Safe also to say that, of course, you are our podcaster, our coach, and associate business, a member of COMETSA Friends and Supporters Club as well. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to hear since last month what new deals have you clinched, Rabula.
In our environment, you don't clinch deals very quick. You build what you call a pipeline. There are few aspects in the pipeline around that aspect. Some of them you cannot commit yourself in. One of the things which you've learned in the space of emerging business is you don't celebrate until you got something black and white. So I've been building a lot of pipelines since the big last month until where we are now, and I'm still building pipelines around that aspect. So for now, for the previous month, it's one of those months when you said, Sam, I won't be able to issue any invoice this month. So hard luck is one of those little things. But it's more to say that as an entrepreneur, you may end up sometimes spending the whole 12 months knocking doors left and right without even having an order to start doing a business around us. That's what the tenacity and the risk you're taking. But it's a very enjoyable environment where you're playing in. For the month where we are and where I come from, I haven't clinched any transaction thus so far, but there are few transactions which are in pipeline, which the person can say maybe in the next session I'll be able to say yes, there's one in pipeline at this stage. There are few internationals transactions are in pipeline, but it's still early for the person to make an announcement and then and even indicate where are these transactions at this stage. Still early. But it's one of those things which keeps me awake every morning. Sometimes even I don't fall asleep at night. But it's part and parcel of the entrepreneur space. Anything you want me to proceed, Sam, or just let me just hold it in that session, because I know we've got 2 hours going forward. Let me give my other peers a chance, unless you want me to proceed, because I can speak the whole day in terms of the entrepreneurs emerging business space. Because one of the key elements which keeps on popping out when you speak to entrepreneurs, they say, no, don't call us entrepreneurs, call us emerging businesses. But we'll talk about it later on. For me, it's more to say that let's continue and talk about the entrepreneurship. Thank you, Sam.
Colleagues can hear me. I've moved over to the 3G because I'm in load shedding. Can you hear me, Rabula?
Loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful. I've had to switch over to the 3G because we just got load shed now. Actually, I should have actually anticipated that, but I didn't put on my 3G on my iPad. But this is much better. Yeah. So I just wanted you, Rabula, to greet the listeners, and you did so. And let's move on to Mate. A short introduction about yourself, your business, and then we will come back to hear about the deals you are working on. This is gonna be a deal announcement platform, or the pipeline you are working on.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mate Mushweshwe. I am the founder of Mushweshwe Properties. I've been in the real estate business for 16 years. So what Mushweshwe Properties does is that we provide affordable accommodation in the township. Thank you.
Wonderful. And Mateo, we can call you now our expert podcaster, all right?
Yes. that I'm still learning.
You're mastering this. You're mastering this platform, and these days I hear you. Is this the link that we need? And so you understand the platform, which is excellent. I'm not. I see somebody just joined the room. I'm not sure. You can please put in the chat box if you are one of our guests or you are a guest coming in. I think. Let me just see. I think it must have been our guest. Yeah, I think it must have been our guest. Please try again if it's you, Leach, Louw. Just, oh yeah, it's Leach. Okay, Leach, I'm gonna try and see if I can move you over to the studio. I'm able to see you. I'm moving you over to the studio. Invite as a speaker, so you should get an invite and you should be able to move over. And I think you are now a speaker. Welcome on board. We will give you a chance to greet the listeners. They are looking forward to hear from you. And I'm inviting the listeners as well to drop some information in the chat box. Yeah, so welcome, Brother Leach Louw, to the show. We are indeed honored to have you here, and we are looking forward to hear from you. KAMOTO, what's the name again? KAMOTO Sauce. Welcome.
Hi, Sam. Yes, it's KAMOTO. Just a point that I think I neglected to mention. I've got my business partner with me, Maurizio Craven. He's also joined us on this call.
Oh, you want him to come to the studio?
Yes, no, he is sitting with me. He can hear everything that's being discussed.
Oh, perfect. But he can also contribute. Welcome. What's the name?
Maurizio. Hi there, Sam.
Maurizio.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. Well, how blessed and honored we are to have the two partners of KAMOTO. Just greet the listeners, and before you go into KAMOTO itself, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where did it all start up to where you are now, and then we'll go into business. Obviously, not too long, but just maybe there's a homeboy of yours or a homegirl of yours listening, and they don't realize that it's you. Let's start with you, Leach.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening to all the listeners. Good evening to your esteemed guests. Yes, so KAMOTO as an idea started about 6 years ago, where at the regular braai, I'd always make sauces for my friends, and they then suggested, but you can make money with us, and that is where the idea started. So KAMOTO is actually a labor of love, which has now grown into a business.
Beautiful. We'll come to that. But who is Leach, Louw?
Oh,
where were you born? Where did you grow up? And what did you do to be where you are now?
Oh, no, I'm Leach Louw. I am born and bred Cape Townian, who then grew up around the East Rand. Yeah, I have been working in the finance space for about the last 10 to 15 years. And yeah, so that has actually exposed me to some entrepreneurs, and that then, yeah, that's where I find myself today, being a part owner or part shareholder of KAMOTO.
Great. Maurizio, and yourself? How about you?
Yes, hi there, Sam. My name is Maurizio Craven. I'm originally from Port Elizabeth. I've been living in Joburg for over 10 years. Yeah, I'm in the motor industry. I'm a master technician. And how this whole story came about was myself and Leach have been friends for many years. And like he said, we came up with the idea that you should make money out of it. And we both put heads together and look at it. We're right here.
Wow, that is wonderful when friends end up becoming business partners. Eh? You didn't see it coming, eh?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Beautiful. Let me allow my two colleagues also just to greet you and ask you a few questions about your background, and then we will then go into indulging on the journey of KAMOTO Sauce. Rabula, Mate.
Do you know very often, sorry, that's Rabula aside. Very often when you start an venture, any type of venture, ideally you start it with customers. When you start that hobby, because I call it a hobby, have you had some customers at the back of your mind, or your friends will say, no, we'll be customers? Just the thought process around that aspect, because very often that's how you start, and that's how you say, let's take this risk. And then from that risk, that's how you grow. Because 6 years has been sort of a reasonable time to say you've already got enough base to sustain yourself in a business. That's what I need to ask Leach. And I wish I could have the other name also as a standalone rather than
Maurizio.
Yeah, I wish you could have standalone rather than being sharing the same equipment, but it's part and parcel of online. So some of us, we started this during the COVID, and then it becomes a norm. But those are input or a question which I need to get from the guys from KAMOTO.
Thank you.
Arabella, thank you for the question. So KAMOTO as a company, yes, the idea has come about 6 years ago, but we've only been active. We've been looking at how can we go about this. We've been looking at what market can we service? What is it that we want out of this market? Right. So we've only been active for, if I speak under correction here, but we've only been active for the last 3 months. And that is, we find ourselves here now due to aggressive marketing. We approach anybody and everybody that seems willing. Like when we go into a store, into a shopping mall, we always wearing our branded clothes. And I would then approach people in the car park and say, listen, you look like you might like a chili sauce. May I offer you a sample? And that is how the business has grown to where we are right now, where we're currently servicing, we're pushing out about 100 bottles a week at the moment.
Wow, a young fire in your mouth.
Fire in your mouth.
Yeah. So you are a true startup, right?
True startup in every sense of the word.
Yes. Sam, before you continue on that aspect, hence I keep on being sort of being reminded every time I walk around. No, don't call us startup. We are emerging business. Because if you can start up, if you keep on calling us startup, we'll be startup for the rest of our life. So we are emerging.
Good one. Good point. Good point, Rabula. You are an emerging business.
Perfect.
Great. Mate, do you have an initial question for our two guests?
Good evening, Leach. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself, Mate?
I'm well, thank you. My question is, what is your why? Why did you start this business, and why? What is the motivation behind? Because your why is what will carry you through when the journey gets tough. Your why is what will make you to be able to go to the office every day and keep on pushing. So what is your why in your business?
Thank you, Mate. The why is what so many other aspiring entrepreneurs and emerging entrepreneurs is pushing. Sustainability for the family, right? So what we're looking at, once I am no longer around, and what skill have I imparted on my child? So the main goal right now is for my child to learn entrepreneurship, and I'm imparting in him that this is your business. You need to learn what daddy is doing right now. Right. So the why comes back to family.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
It's a very good question. The reason why you exist. I assume now you are preoccupied with the packaging of all these kind of things that we are addressing. I love the name without really knowing much about it, and then the slogan, that I've just called out now. Do you want us to tell us a little bit about the story behind the name KAMOTO?
Yes, Sam, I will address that question for you. It's Maurizio here. Kamoto was basically a Shona word for a little fire, a young fire. That's where the whole idea came about, because our product is a young fire in your mouth, if you think about it. So that's the initial idea behind it. So to make people aware, it's not just that we gave the product a name, but the product actually is the name. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow. How do you come across this word?
Sam, the word Kamoto actually came about with Google Wordplay. How do we translate the word small fire? Because our product, according to us, is not too hot, right? It's not too hot, so it's a small fire. So how do we translate that into something that rolls off the tongue, but it's not something that you would see every day? Because we could easily have said umlilo, right? And that is a very common word. Us being South African, umlilo is very, very common. With our Zulu brothers and sisters, being very out there, right? So umlilo, yeah. So we thought, let's make this thing so strictly African, but not specific to South Africa, and that is where the motto came about.
Wonderful. So you 6 months now, and you decided that it's time for you not just to operate, but you want to go on aggressive marketing. And by the way, we got to know about you through one of our member entrepreneur who's part of this panel, Maynard. And
Yes, sir.
and it was quite a beautiful story that he shared with us how he came into contact with you. And that is why you are in the studio today. So, Rabula and Mate, you can see that this platform seems to be inviting some interesting figures as well. If you want to, feel free, please, to engage with them on the short journey that they've traveled. But yeah, just reflect on that point I raised.
Um, yes. So Maynard and I actually live in the same area, right? And we actually came across each other, whereby he's very vocal as part of our community on our community chat group, and him and I are the same. And I then approached him because he advertised one of his products on the community chat group. And yes, we then engaged, and Maynard has since, if I could say, taken us under his wing with guidance, how to grow the business, how to do strategic marketing. He's given us a lot of inspiration, and then also Maynard specifically does our printing of our branded clothes. He does our advertising, our business cards. Everything goes through Maynard.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Over to you, Rapula and Mate.
Do you know there is a saying somewhere else? I won't give a direct quote around it, but I'll summarize in the following scenario where an elderly or a dad call his sons and put them in one basket. He said, "No, if you cling together as bunch of people, you can win a lot of wars." So what I'm picking up here is as emerging entrepreneurs, if you work hand in hand, you can go very far. So this is what I'm picking up from scenario. So as Kamoto is specialized in different direction and Maynard is on a different direction, but because there's collaboration, the growth becomes much more quicker and much more faster rather than being an individualistic approach. That's one of the things which I'm picking up in this conversation of saying working together will take us very far, but working alone will take you very slow in terms of our destination. So the target market which I'm picking up here is more retail, and retail requires a lot of energy, and I'm picking up a lot of energy from the conversation here, which until the product get established, you have to run and run and run and run. It's not an overnight thing. It's going to be a very long journey, and that's how you grow your business. But on Kamoto itself, I say, guys, are you saying to me it took you 6 years before you can put the business together? Let's say 5 years, for argument's sake, before you can put and start acting on it. What was delaying you in that 5 years?
Thank you, thank you, Rapula. For me personally, it was fear. I don't know how my colleague feels here, but I was held back by fear. I was very reluctant to go out there, being permanently employed and then pushing some of my then salary and savings into a venture of which I am not certain that it would be successful. That was my main obstacle with regards to going out there. How Raven feels, or Maurizio?
Yes, on my side, to be honest, I felt the same. There was a lot of things that were holding us back. Life and everything we had to do. So it was a process, but we knew that we needed to find the space and the correct time to do it, and we put heads together and we decided it's now or never. And we had to start something and we did it, and we're pushing and we're not scared to go out there to do what we need to do to be able to do this and become successful.
So will you say that this is sorry, Mate? Will you say that this is the moment, and you have overcome the fear, and you are just confident, and you feel you can weather the storms?
Confidence is key. Confidence is absolutely key. So I am confident that the product in itself has had many positive reviews. I am yet to receive a complaint or a negative review. God forbid that should ever happen. But the product in itself has proven that the timing is right. So the fear is a thing of the past. It is now time to hit the ground running, get the product out there, market aggressively.
Maynard, welcome back. Your story is amazing. You inspired the Kamoto people by your aggressive marketing in the same region, township or area where you live. So is the story, but you didn't end there. I was telling them that we know them because of you being a member of this entrepreneur panelist that meet other entrepreneurs monthly. You must be very proud, Maynard. Mate, sorry, I will come back to you. I just wanted to sort of like follow up through Maynard, and from there, Mate will come in. Yes, Maynard?
Yes, good evening, Tom. Good evening, Leach and Raven. Maurizio, I call you Raven most often because I think Raven is the easier way to call it. I met these two gentlemen for recently, and I'm very proud that I actually motivated them that much. As Leach also said, like we served in the same community where I was the leader of that community myself, and he put me on a spotlight that I was a very vocal in the community. But that one is another topic for another day. Yes, I think I'm very proud that I make such a big impact on other upcoming entrepreneurs and emerging business, as Rabaka will say. So I think it's what is actually needed, because we definitely need to motivate each other, and one has to be inspired by someone. And I think in that way we will be pushing the ecosystem forward. Because like if you are not motivated, I mean, what is it that is going to take you out of your comfort zone if there's nothing that is driving you towards that goal? So I think we are in the right direction, and I'm very proud. I'm just here, I'm reserving myself because they actually intimidated me that no, Maynard, don't grill us there. So yeah, I was just listening back. So yeah, I didn't want to grill them that much. But I think my question that I wanted to ask them again is that like what will they define as their target market? Because I think the business that they are, it's actually wide broad, where we can just decide to choose your target market on that kind of business. Like what would they define as a target market? Because we don't want to see ourselves 2-3 years later they said, no, Maynard, you can't order from us. Unfortunately, we only supply the wholesalers. Is it? So we just want to know, like, what do they define as their target market at this stage, moving forward?
Thank you, Maynard.
Thank you, Maynard.
At this stage, our target market is specifically the household, right? So the individual customer. That is our target market. The expansion plan.
Maynard, you can mute yourself.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. The expansion plan is from the individual customer. We're looking at our chisanyamas, because yes, weekend you need a bit of a chili when you wake up on a Saturday morning, just to get rid of the results of the night before. Right. So the expansion plan is going into your chisanyamas. From chisanyama, we are looking at big retail. So hopefully chisanyama will generate capital for us in such a way that we are then able to produce the sauce in bulk.
Wonderful. Mate, you want to come in there?
Okay, but I think I've been answered already. But what I would like to understand is, have you guys identified the size of the market that you guys want to penetrate, firstly? And then secondly, the sauce industry is a very saturated market. So how you guys are planning to differentiate yourself from Nando's, from all other sauces that are out there in the market? And also your pricing strategy, how have you guys done it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mate, for that.
It's a steep one, yeah?
This is a steep one. So they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
Yeah.
So with regards to the size of the market, I think that the size of the Chisanyama market is very broad, and we're not specific to Ekurhuleni or Gauteng province. We've reached out to some of our friends out in other provinces who have had a taste of the sauce and are aggressively marketing Mpumalanga, Limpopo. The sauce is currently doing the rounds in those provinces. So the size of the market, but the Chisanyama market being an informal market, I don't think that we can readily say that the size can be identified, because Chisanyama pops up every second month. There's a new Chisanyama. So we are targeting them specifically for now. And
Okay,
then
so
the pricing strategy. Yeah?
In your area, how many Chisanyamas are there? Do you know? Maybe is it 10? Is it 5?
Around our area, within a 5-kilometer radius, we've got 7 Chisanyamas.
7 Chisanyama. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then are the Chisanyamas ordering in advance, or you just go there on Saturday when they are frying and then you display your stuff?
So generally what we do is on, like what you're saying, on Saturdays we would rock up there and display our product, and anybody that comes past, we introduce our product to them. It's not a forceful thing, but we at least let them know about it so that if in case they are interested, here's a sample and you could taste it and you can come back to us. We give our number.
You prepare tasting for them.
Yes.
Yes. So just to expand a bit on that, so we readily keep our bacon keeps with us at all times. Bacon keeps and cheese are with us at all times when we rock up, when we arrive at Echisanyama that we've identified for this specific Saturday. We do have a little cracker, bacon keep with us with cheese for people to taste, and they will then get exposed to the flavor of the sauce. So the sauce is not it doesn't give a burn, the overpowering burn. There's more flavor to it, and that is what we want our customer to know.
Okay. Wow. I can imagine. I was really impressed by the branding that you have done, and I guess that's Maynard's influence there. But obviously, you must be believing very strongly in branding. It can't just be about the taste. Tell us a bit about that. The role that branding is playing in spreading the message across. And what else other than T-shirts and the flags and the banners are you doing?
So, with regards to the brand itself, right, the branding itself. So, I don't know if Maynard has shared with you the logo. Our logo is an African neck piece.
Yes, I've seen that.
One of our main ingredients is the African bird's eye chili. KAMOTO is an African girl's name. So our marketing strategy is for Africa, by Africans, to Africa. So that is what we are looking at. This is Africa, proudly African product. Right. So in terms of marketing, we are looking at that aspect as well. Growth outside of South Africa should always be an option. South Africa, in my personal view, South Africa has some of the best products to offer, and we just don't get enough exposure into different markets. Hence, we've become an economy of consumers. Right. So get the product out there. Get the product out there first. With regards to what we have, so I am hoping, I've been tagging Drip on social media because I want Drip to be part of our uniform. And if I can get into Drip's cafeteria, that would be the goal. So I have a pair of yellow Drip sneakers, which the color complements our logo. My wife has a pair of red. Raven is yet to buy his. He's committed to buying it. My son has demanded a pair of green. So the sneaker itself must form part of the uniform.
Wow. Great ideas there. Look, my colleagues can come in whenever they want to. This is a conversation. It's not a monologue. But I want us to come back to the product itself. I mean, for you to make the sauce, you need them raw materials. Where's your farm where you get the raw materials?
So the raw material is actually locally sourced. There's a plantation not far from where Maynard and I live, and that is where I get the chilies from. So yes, it's the chili sauce is locally the chilies are locally grown. The spices that I use, I go into Actonville, which is not too far from where I live. Again, a local community. Honey is one of our ingredients. So most of our ingredients are locally sourced, with the main one being the chili, which is a local farm.
So you already have sectors and industries that actually can grow as a result of your growth.
That is correct. That is correct.
Wow, this is more than chili, man. This is really melodies in my. Maynard, Rapula and Mati, please come in. Otherwise, I have so many questions, but I'm going to reserve them. I really want you to engage these fellow entrepreneurs.
So what I would like to know is, Leach, have you thought of painting, doing a patent for your receipt, so that nobody can be able to steal it, like KFC? Have you thought of doing that, or maybe to patent the receipt itself?
Mate, right now we haven't gone into that direction as yet. We are actually looking at protecting the IP, right? For our listeners, our intellectual property. Once our intellectual property is protected, we'll then, go into mass production. There is a shared space out in Johannesburg that we have approached in order to get the product mass produced. But before that can be done, the patent or the intellectual property protection needs to happen first. So that is a thought that we've had, and honestly speaking, we are looking for guidance with regards to the legal aspects of how do we go about that.
To come back to Leach, because I know these guys, they are very aggressive on marketing as well. I've seen their marketing, they are very aggressive. You won't tell that they actually became active as in this year. It shows that the idea has been burning and cooking for almost 5 years. So they are very aggressive in marketing. I'm very proud of you guys, I want to say. One other question that I wanted to ask you, Leach, is that now we put you on the spotlight. This is the COMETSA podcast radio station that has been listened to throughout the whole world, not only in South Africa. And what will be your either the first province or your first step to expand KAMOTO Sauce? Because I believe you don't want to only depend on counting clients only. But what will be your first province where you're thinking, you know what, my next branch will be on this province?
I think the ideal province would be the party province, right? KZN, the party province where South Africa goes to party. Wow. So the expansion plan, we are currently selling minimally in Limpopo and Mpumalanga, when we've got friends traveling out that way. So we do currently have a very small footprint in those two provinces. But the big plan would be the party province.
So that
it's very interesting how you call it.
It does. There's I sense such talent in the two colleagues, and I hope we are asking them are bringing it out even for themselves, because these are powerful marketing ideas. And Mate asked earlier on some strategic questions. Now, one of the first steps you need to engage in when you start a business is to have a business plan, and then have a strategy. I don't know whether it's the strategy first and then business plan, or business plan first and then strategy when you are an emerging business that have just started. Our expert finance and bank ex-banker Rapula maybe can come in there and refine my question before you can answer.
Sam, let me just come to this. I had another question, but let me hold it back and come to your question, which you just now. As an emerging entrepreneur, you first start with a strategy. Where do you want to see yourself? And once you've got that embedded in your strategy of the business, at least minimum for the foreseeable 3 years, where you're going to be, and then you come back in terms of how you're going to expand the strategy. Because don't forget one thing, put anything in your business all the time. So to say, you always have vision and mission. And in many instances, your vision remain almost very close to your statics, depending on the market environment at the time. Every time it is emerging, many institutions or many emerging business died during the 2 years of lockdown, because they didn't anticipate to have a distribution channel which is static or maybe which is moving around. I've been listening to your discussions and conversation around how do you want to expand, and you depend on a footprint on a person moving around. The next question I'm having is to say, as matters stands right now, some of the distribution channels which many retailers are using currently is the courier systems. And to an extent that we thought the courier systems are sitting within a post office environment, but you find them in a retail environment. Your PEP stores now becoming retailers are decided courier systems. Are you going to stick to your method of distribution, or are you going to say, let's rethink our distribution? Those are the questions which, when you start building your business plan, you start anticipating, putting that in that perspective. Key to that is to say, once you've got a documented strategy on the table, you always, when you have to go outside that, you go back, said, what has changed? Why this thing has changed? Why should we enhance that by looking at different aspects around it? That will help you a lot in terms of saying, we now have a strategy, because what I'm fearing here, I'm fearing energetic marketers who move from A to B and they start enticing a lot of retailers. And only
Let's hold it there. Let's hold it there, Rapula. Thank you so much for. By the way, this is not an interrogation, colleagues. We are engaging, and hopefully out of that, you will get some insights as to what we are seeing as people outside your business. So I love it, but it is really just to also help other people out there that I'm sure you have the challenge, like many of us had, where you actually saw a need and you had a product, you served the need, and then the next thing is now you must start a business. Will you say, Mate, based on your own experience, the two sometimes can actually be contradictory? Someone, and there's a question in the chat box that came from Tosi that actually speak to this particular issue, that circumstances dictated for how people became entrepreneurs. You see a need, you have a product, you service it, and all of a sudden, now you are in business. Mate? Thanks, Rapula.
You're welcome, Sim. Thanks. What happened? Now it's becoming quiet.
Can you kindly?
Yeah, no, no, I was saying to them that, we are busy asking them questions, but the intention is just for them to collect some insights, but they know their business better. Now, I was saying that many of us, like them, we did not sit and say, I'm going to start a business and start doing strategy and planning. We found ourselves responding to a need because we had the capacity and capability and knowledge. Yes. So they have been cooking. Leach tells me that he loves cooking. And then Craven comes to him and say, but you can make money out of this. Then they try it, and then it works, and all of a sudden they are in business. And then they go to Maynard, and then Maynard does banners for them. And then now you are happening, and every day is happening. So I'm saying, have you experienced that when Amate as Mushosho Properties, that you found yourself servicing a need and not having started a business, and then you had to start a business? At what point did you feel that now you had really settled and you are no longer chasing and dictated to by the demand?
All right. For me, remember, I was working for a real estate company before I started my own. So the reason why I decided to go on my own is because I wanted to service the township market, which I did for the past 10 years up until now. But it was only up until 2018, whereby I realized that I don't have to keep on chasing deals. I changed my strategy that if you really want to make it in the property industry, the first thing that you need to do is to build a portfolio. And then from that portfolio, you then get an income stream. Then at least that even if you are chasing other deals, you still have some sort of like money that's coming in every month as a cushion for you to be able to pay your bills. So for me, it wasn't a matter of I was trying to do something, then I decided to be in business. When I ventured into going to business, I knew exactly what I wanted, and I knew exactly that my goal was to go and to be the next Pam Golding of the township market. So yeah.
Any reflections, Craven and Leach, on what Rapula has said and what Marty has just said?
Thank you, Sam. So, firstly, Rapula, thank you for the point that you raised with regards to the distribution channels. Yeah, so just to answer that quickly, we are willing to courier via Pep Pexi at 99 Rand. Right. So what we're willing to do in that space, if a customer or potential customer is willing to buy 10 bottles, we will courier at our expense. That is where we're standing right now with regards to utilizing technology and getting out there with
Sorry, Leach, we didn't want you to divulge your pricing strategy. I was just saying those are different distribution, because now you are divulging your pricing strategy. Your competitors listening.
Oh, okay. So, I'm sorry. Thank you for that.
Yeah. No, don't worry. There will always be a blind spot here and there, but it's a learning process. And now, what Marty has shared with you.
Yes. So with regards to going in there, knowing exactly what it is that we are looking to do, Raven and I, or Maurizio and I, are not, entrepreneurs in the true sense of the word. We are learning. So, as Rapula rightly said, we are emerging entrepreneurs, and everything as we are going along is lived experience. So, our marketing right now is lived experience, having looked at what is happening, having looked at business people in the areas that we grew up in. So everything is based on that. That's learnings that we've seen happening in our daily lives. So yes, we don't. If I could honestly say, we are learning, and that is why we bounce so much of our ideas off of Maynard as a means of getting guidance. Maynard is become somewhat of a mentor to Maurizio and I, and yeah, so most of our ideas when we're looking at doing something, we'll speak to Maynard first. So that is where we're getting our learnings from.
And then, of course, we need to thank Maynard because of that interaction, Leach, you have joined COMETSA, right?
That is correct. I have joined. I've signed up. I am yet to pay my 280 Rand, if I'm not mistaken. That payment will be made soon.
That's why we invited you, because that's the whole idea. We want to connect you with so many people like Rapula, Mate, and Maynard, because we are saying that you are not, as an entrepreneur, you are not going to do it alone. Today we celebrate you for becoming part of this network, and then we hope that being part of us, you are going to learn from all of us, and we are also learning from you, because some of us we took forever to be where we are today. You don't think we were quick. I think you are amazingly very quick. I mean, the passion that you are sharing with us, and the fact that even your children are already deciding what their role is going to be. I think this is really this company is bound to grow, and we are here. Now, I'm asking myself, are you able to meet the demand in terms of quantities? How is the capacity like? I mean, where do you produce? Where's your factory?
Sam, we produce from home right now. So everything is home based, and our capacity right now is give or take a few bottles. Our capacity is 100 bottles per week.
And is it because you don't have demand, or is because you have limited resources and capacity?
It's more down to time constraint. Maurizio and I are both permanently employed. So we do the production after hours, and we let the product rest and set for a few days before we go out and sell the product. So yeah, the only available time that we basically have to push the product for the entire day is weekends.
I tell you, Apple was started in the backyard. This is
Yeah,
where
for
it
sure.
all started.
That is true. These guys are actually building a brand. They are building a brand, and I'm actually also very inspired on them. Even though they feel motivated around me, because every person, in fact, if I can see around entrepreneurs, I mean, they would always be motivation throughout the way. So I'm happy that they are inspired, they are motivated, and the passion they are having, they are actually building a very big brand that they can't even imagine next coming few years where they will be. Looking at how they are strategizing their business, they are positioning their business unaware. And one thing that I wanted to ask, I know we spoke to with Leach of the air the other day, is that like in terms of the market again in this space, he bought the new equipment specifically to prepare for certain group of people, specifically Indians, because their food needs to be halal and whatnot, and he didn't want to mix sports when he prepared his sauces and whatnot, and he went out and buy special equipment so that he can also service that market. I don't know what motivated him to go that far. Maybe he can tell us like what was motive behind in terms of going to buy specific equipments so that he can also be able to tap into the Indian markets in terms of their religion.
Ish.
Thank you, my man. Yeah, so with regard to the Muslim religion,
Please mute if you
like,
are not talking. Maynard.
thank you. With regards to the Muslim religion in particular, they're very strict about how animal products are to be treated, right? And so the idea came about that the Muslim market, with regards to Chile, that is a very big market which we could tap into. And we have to be sensitive to the needs of their religion in order for us to tap into that market. We do not want to dishonor, and in essence, then how can I put this? Dishonor them, and in essence, offend them by using pots where, you know, the first pot that we had was a pot that I'd borrowed from my wife's aunt, and she would use that pot at church functions, and I don't know what products was cooked in there. Was pork by any chance cooked in this pot? And I don't know the sensitivity around, if I wash this pot, could I then sell this product to a Muslim person? And that then motivated me to go out, spend a little bit extra money, get a pot in order to then access the market with a clear conscience.
Wow. Based on what you have heard from our Rabula, will conversation with somebody like Rabula, based on what you have heard him saying, coming from his experience and background as a banker, without, I'm not committing you and I'm going to committing him, but I'm saying you all are members of COMETSA, you are members of this platform. It shouldn't really take it, should take it a struggle to just have a conversation and be enlightened. Will that be of value to you? And Prabula, will that be something that you will want to do? And if you can't, you can't. But I'm just because it looks like we are all going to be buying sauces. I think Leach is going to be delivering bottles of sauces at my house every month now, without me tasting it. It sounds like we can't afford to have it failing. Rabula.
No, Sam, don't forget, before I even comment, may not put on mute all the time, otherwise you are creating an echo. So
Sorry,
from my
colleagues.
side, from my side, Sam, don't forget part of my business advisory. So I wouldn't mind to have a conversation with Leach and Maurizio, discuss concerning their business.
Maurizio.
Maurizio, concerning their business in terms of the base, because the base is more important in terms of when you are already there and the demand starting exceeding your supply, and how do you counter that as an entrepreneur? Because the key element to your survival is I'll go back to what Marty said, you build a base of a cash flow. Once you've got a standard base cash flow, the others becomes easier to follow in. Because if you grow very fast and your engine is not ready for that, you will end up burning yourself, and then people start losing interest in terms of your product. Those are the dynamics we can deal with either offsite, or we can deal it while your conversation in an entrepreneur's platform like this.
Exactly. I mean, this is a monthly show, and we're discussing real stuff with real people who have decided that they are going to go on a journey. I want us to go back to a point raised by Tosi in the chat box, because I'm sure she's eager to hear what the two entrepreneurs and you are colleagues, panelists, you think of. She says, she's asking, or she's making a statement here saying, as entrepreneurs, where will you refer or see a gap for a very young unemployed person who has been doing animated drawings, portraits, and landscape drawings with a view to generate income? This is also in relation to someone who mentioned printing as a business. Now, I guess this is a very particular, specific question, and we like this type of questions. We can keep it in the background, colleagues. Any one of you, at the end of the show, I want us to go back to that question, because it is a particular question to a particular case, right? Mate, you wanted to come in there.
Yes, I wanted to actually say to Leach that there is a fund that has been set aside by government as Township Economic Act. So I'm going to, if possible, if I can get Leach's number, I'm going to talk to Spiwe, who is a Deputy Director of Gauteng Economic Development, so that she can explain to Leach how they can be able to access that fund, so that they can be able to buy equipment and things like that. Because I think the fund is there for township entrepreneurs in retail, in car washes, restaurants, and I think there's a lot that maybe he can actually try. Maybe he might be lucky.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Mate. Leach is on the chat box. He's been added to our WhatsApp group, so you'll get that. But we will connect you, the two of you. Now, the follow up to that, we must also look at the compliance issues. Leach and Maurizio, food is a very sensitive thing, and I think there's a lot of regulations, and I don't know what they call it. At some stage, I spent a lot of time with the late Dr. Richard Mabonya. One thing he shared with me was compliance in the food space, and why sometimes our people don't make it is because there's no compromise when it comes to health compliance. Have you started researching that part of the dynamic of your business?
Yes, Sam, we have done something to that effect. So in the past, right, we experienced some botulism with the chili, where the chili wasn't cooked. And botulism is where the chili started boiling in the bottles, right? And we spoke to a food engineer, actually approached a food engineer, who then took me through the process of how to prevent said botulism. And yes, that's where we are right now. So the next plan for us to get compliant with the required legislations is to approach the statutory bodies to get I'm not certain, that is still something that I need to research, but I think that we need to get an SABS stamp as well. So there is something that, if there is a requirement, it is in the pipeline, but the statutory bodies is something that we are looking into.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is Maynard helping you with your the branding on your bottles? Is he design, because that also there is I think there is some standard that you need to comply with. And then the other question I want to ask is, who supplies you with the bottles?
So Maynard has actually redesigned the labels that we had initially. So all praise should go to Maynard for this. The logo is ours, the wording, the font, everything is ours, but the background design of the label is all Maynard. And we have to thank him for the new upgraded look of the branding. Yes, so Maynard is helping us with the printing and all that, and we're very grateful for that. Yeah, so that's where we are.
Actually, we keep on saying Maynard, and he just allows us to carry on like that. It's Maisela corporate branding.
Maisela corporate branding, that's correct.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I need to, just before you come in, Maynard, I just need to acknowledge the message that came from our fellow entrepreneur panelist, Nhlanhla Sivia from Newcastle, who is also a part of this panelist. And actually, for me, a very key individual that you guys, if you want to be in the KZN, that is your man. And I hope he was on the platform, but you will get to meet him very soon. He's based in Newcastle and he's in the logistics business as well. So if you want to discuss the shipping of your product, it is in the house.
Thank you very much.
Maynard, you wanted to follow up?
Oh yes, no. I just wanted to follow up on the branding part of the comment, and yeah, no. So far, my corporate branding is the one that it's a proud brander of KAMOTO Sauce, from the bottle stickers, their business cards, their marketing equipments. They were talking about banners and everything. So yeah, we are very proud to be part of their branding as well. So as I think we talked about this the previous time, that like branding is everywhere anyway. So yeah, we are part of them. We are proud of ourselves as well. As they grow, we are also growing.
Absolutely. Any one of us in this network, as you grow, we are all growing. That is the motto I think we must adopt. Let's say that there are some, this show, Craven and Leach, it follows certain modules on our online course. I'm not sure, I think I forgot to add you to that course. And the key things that we wanted to address with you today, and we know you don't have the answers, but they are very important for any entrepreneur, and that is, number one, your purpose. And it sounds like your purpose is there. You might not have defined it, and it might not have been aligned between the two of you, but that is bigger than the vision. Now, and then the next thing is, and I think that's the why that you have answered actually. Then I'm sure you're spending sleepless nights formulating some vision in the form of words and sentences. And I'm sure you are getting ideas now in terms of what could be the mission, which is the how of your business. And then for me, over and above those, because you are already functioning, over and above those, what are the main activities that you are engaged in now that will take you to the next level? And the activities that are not necessarily only about marketing, selling, delivering, and pricing, but activities that are creating what ultimately you will call a business model. And if you don't have answers, I've asked it, you don't have to answer it now. But that for me is very important because it looks like you are running as Rapula was saying. Just reflect on that. You don't have to answer all that. But I'm actually in saying, while you are running around, there might be a need to sit on a desk somewhere and produce something that you can hand over to a potential investor. I don't know whether any of my colleagues want to put it better than I have. before you answer. I don't know what you will call it. Organization development design or packaging or producing a flyer or a website or a brochure, something like that.
I think, Sam, you are right. One of the things which I think need to be put at the back of mind is currently in the food industry, duplication moves faster than you can ever think of, because we've got a lot of food technologists which are coming out of the universities very quick and very fast. So once you enter that space, make sure that you always protect your product and make sure that the product becomes unique. You enhance it all the times, because if it's static all the times, it's easy to duplicate it and somebody can sell it at a cheaper rate. And the second thing is your penetration in the market is going to end up being more and more difficult. That's why you find the spices of the Nando's and the rest, you find them in different retailers rather than only sitting there at the franchises at the time. So this is one of the things which in the industry are entering. They need to be all the times be ahead of the game. Other than that, they might be able to say, "Oh gosh, we thought we were growing very fast, but something is hindering our growth here." But it's more like precautionary in terms of what you're doing, and make sure that you sustain your cash flow. Critical to that. What often becomes difficult, use the word of difficult in terms of doing all these small little entries, is your risk appetite. If you are high risk takers, you're going to go very far, but bear in mind also the risk associated becomes very, very strong too. So one of you should be sort of an office bearer and always thinking of innovatively in a product ahead all the times. If your sauce was having a chili, perhaps the medium chili, the next sauce could be high chili, the next sauce could maybe adding, I'm using it as an example, I'm not saying it should be in like that. The next one could be adding curry, and chili and curry, just mix it in such a way that it becomes unique all the time, it's not be static all the time, so that you can retain.
You know what I like. You know what I like about this Indaba Rabula.
Yes.
You know what I like about this entrepreneurship Indaba. It just shows me that when we collectively engage on a conversation, all of us become very innovative and very creative. I'm sure Leach and Craven is just amazed by what is coming out. So one point I wanted to raise is that once you start something like brave as going into business, and then you appear on platforms and tell people that here you are and you are ready, don't be despondent and be surprised how many advisors you are going to get uninvited. That's why we are on this platform. And I think it's beautiful that we are doing it on this platform, because the focus of this platform is to contribute to the development of entrepreneurship and growing more entrepreneurs for our country. So today is your day to hear it from all of us. When we finish here, it's up to you what you do with this information. And please follow up on the offers that came through. I offered to connect you with Ndlandla in Newcastle. I'm sure he's going to hear this because he's going to listen to the podcast. Mate has offered to connect with Gauteng, the director. Rabula is offered to have a conversation with you, and Maynard is already part of your support system. And I'm the chairman of Friends and Supporters Club. I'm proud of you guys that you are on board. I'm proud that we're talking tangibles. So I think you must be sitting there and say, wow, where do we start? Any comment?
Yes, we are over the moon, to be honest. We are thankful for all the assistance, for any bit of assistance. We appreciate everything. Thank you very much.
Great. It's a pity Ndlandla is not here, because you needed to hear Ndlandla's story. how he became an entrepreneur. By the way, he used to work with us at COMETSA, and then he decided to go back home in Newcastle and started his business. The idea is just to inspire each other. And colleagues in the chat, in the forum, please drop your box. I see some information coming out. Beatrice Gisecha says, the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa represents retail and manufacturing member companies in a sector that is one of the largest sources of employment in South Africa. Sekha, please, if you can just drop more information, if you are available to guide them. Sekha is our member, and she is with Masmat. I don't know whether I needed to say that. Sekha, if I cross the line, please let me know. But I know you are a chartered accountant, and you're probably working closely with the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa. But in this case, you are talking to us as a member of COMETSA, and please, we will appreciate if you can drop more information for them. Thanks for that input. Tembi Khulani, okay, like the show. How can they be assisted in expanding their brand to bigger franchises? I think that's a good question from Tembi. How can they be assisted? Anyone who wants to come in there? Because that is where I think a difference will be made. And maybe to add to that point, to you colleagues, you are absolute good candidate to go on to incubator. There are many incubators who don't take any customers or clients who have not even started. Have you ever thought of that? While my colleagues in the chat are responding to my points, Sekha and other colleagues. And then I think they're saying that SGCSA have SMME platform. I don't know why. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. Now, I just wanted to comment on the incubator that you just mentioned. Honestly speaking, we don't know where to begin. This is all, formalizing the business is all quite new to us. And yes, as previously mentioned, we would be grateful for any and every bit of assistance that we can get.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So I know Alon Reyes personally, so I can talk to him and ask that if they don't have any program that has to do with what is it? What are you guys doing with? Is it sauce? I don't know, manufacturing, I think. And then hear from him. And if they do have incubation for the manufacturing sector, I'll make sure that I link Leach with Alon Reyes directly.
Yes, absolutely. They are the masters, and I think we also work very closely with the Riversense incubator in outside the halfway house. So I hope the colleagues are taking the notes, and then you are going to follow up on this, because next time we really want to hear how far you have been assisted. Okay, SGCSA is acronym for Consumer Goods Council of South Africa. Thanks, Sekha, we appreciate that. And then she's also saying that a platform for SMMEs in the consumer goods industry to voice concerns and engage. And then she says she doesn't work directly with that, but I'm sure they can find the information. That's why Rapula was saying that one of you may perhaps spend more time in the office and addressing these things. But we don't expect you to do these things overnight. We're going to be with you every month. It's a journey now that has started, and in a way that you are assisted. We are not just wanting to bombard you with all these things. We are actually quite excited ourselves. We are learning. Thanks for being a case study, because otherwise we wouldn't have been engaging in this manner. Yeah, it's amazing how fast time goes. Now, colleagues, part of this show is for these entrepreneurs, my corporate branding, Mushweshwe Properties, and the Retlalifile, and the Big Empire Ideas. what's the name of Ramavaka's company? Nuguma Bulelo. We have put them together for a full year to be entrepreneur panelists, to engage in conversations with people like yourselves, so that we are not having people who are not running business trying to tell business people how best to run their business. How does that make you feel, Leach and Maurizio, to have been engaged by the people who themselves are running business?
Thank you, Sam. Right now, I can see light at the end of the tunnel. It is initially this seemed like quite a daunting task, trying to grow a business, being permanently employed, and then making the business sustainable. It seemed very daunting, but having established business people willing to guide you it's invaluable. That information that can be deposited into our little business with a growth and expansion plan. So yes, being guided by established business people is key. That is something that I would never have expected. I was hoping for a network to this effect, and there, lo and behold, it has come to pass.
Great. And I'm sure you can see that there are other entrepreneurs on the public forum listening, and there are other other members of COMETSA. How do we order? We must be the first ones to order. Well, how do we order? How do we get hold of you?
Sam, I can be reached on the number 072 6399 141. I will drop it in the text box as well. Alternatively, I can be reached on leachlow@outlook.com. I will drop both my contacts on the chat box.
Any social media platforms, accounts?
Yes, we do have a KAMOTO Sauce Company page on Instagram as well as Facebook.
Please drop all those in the chat box. We still have 30 minutes so that people can write them down, because really we want to be the first ones to support you. We can't be wanting you to grow and we still don't have a bottle of your KAMOTO sauce among the many others we have in our kitchens.
Thank you, Sam.
Great. My fellow colleagues, panelists, I'm going to give you one round of, I don't know whether you have any follow-up questions, but one round of final remarks. And then, of course, you are going to check out with your own business. Tell us where your business is.